Welcome to Tallinn, Estonia.
We recently got a comment on our channel that we get often. It's usually a nice question and it comes in various forms, but it goes something like this. Why, at age 60, don't you just travel and not worry about filming and editing and writing? Wouldn't you have a better trip if you just traveled?
There is a big magical answer for this, and today we're going to talk about why we started a YouTube channel and website and why it is so important to us.
We're John and Bev, and we are the Retirement Travelers.
If you're just finding us, we are a senior travel couple who are actively traveling the world full time. Now, besides this YouTube channel, we have a website that we hope to build into a great travel site just full of travel guides. We hope you'll subscribe to this channel and also go to our website and sign up for our newsletter. And by the way, we're also on Instagram and Facebook.
Like we said before, we oftentimes get asked why we YouTube and blog. Well, not long ago, we read a book, Big Magic: Creative Living Beyond Fear by Elizabeth Gilbert. You remember her. She wrote Eat, Pray, Love, the book that inspired many to set out on a life of full-time travel. In Big Magic, she wrote, look a little further back in your family's history. Look at your grandparents. Odds are pretty good that they were makers. No, not yet? Keep looking back then. Go back further still. Look at your great-grandparents. Look at your ancestors. Look at the ones who were immigrants or slaves or soldiers or farmers or sailors or the original people who watched the ships arrive with the strangers on board. Go back far enough and you will find people who were not consumers, people who were not sitting around passively waiting for stuff to happen to them. You will find people who spent their lives making things. The emphasis is on making things.
That passage resonated with us and summed up perfectly the kind of life we want to live and create. Now, after retiring from a corporate job, I had spent my life making aluminum, and Bev had been a stay-at-home mom to our 5 kids. We yearned to start not only a new chapter, but an entirely new story, a story filled with creativity, gratitude, and wonder. Now, world travel was just a ticket, and figuring out how to take our knowledge of the subject and turn it into something helpful was very appealing to us.
Throughout our lives, travel had always been something we wanted to do. As children, our parents filled our lives with books of wonder, and the idea of seeing it all was set very early in our childhood. We raised our family with the idea that there is a big world out there.
If you would have told us 5 years ago where we would be now, currently traveling through the Baltic countries, no doubt we would have laughed in disbelief. Us, just 2 ordinary Americans, all our kids grown, married, employed, and starting families of their own. Honestly, that would have been the time to relax.
But we were captivated by the idea of living a bigger life and rejected the traditional narrative around retirement. Instead, we invited Big Magic and Elizabeth Gilbert's challenge to transform our lives and become the makers of things. Making something from our own creativity intrigued us. We sold our home and gave away what we owned. We threw out the old book, and before long, a new story started writing itself.
When the pandemic arrived, we pivoted from our initial plan of international travel and spent the first year and a half living out of an Airstream trailer, exploring all the national parks in the lower 48. Now, that Airstream travel trailer saw over 40,000 miles, but what we saw was wondrous. You know, mountains capped with snow, deserts as alive as any rainforest, caves stretching deep into the earth, seashores with sunrises and sunsets to rival any postcard, and lush green forests that reminded us life always springs anew. And all of that was in our own backyard.
It was during our continental U.S. travel that we settled on our plan to not only see, but to make. In we dove into the world of YouTube, blogging and blogging at the time. That was a new one for us, wasn't it? We had no idea what we didn't know, and what we didn't know blows our minds today. It is complicated, overwhelming, and very frustrating at times.
The following questions soon dominated our daily conversations. Should we make a website? What video editing software do we need? And here's our favorite. What exactly is the YouTube algorithm?
Still has that one.
We still do not know what that one is. So, and another question is, how do we manage all the data that we're creating, and how do we put together the million puzzle pieces to make something that inspires and teaches others?
Yeah, after many headaches, a few door slams, and just enough aha moments to keep us going, we got into a rhythm and figured out a few things. Making travel content is never something we thought we would be doing in retirement, but deciding to make was the catalyst that set us on this great journey.
In late 2021, we arrived in Panama to begin our years-long adventures abroad, while creating the Retirement Travelers Company behind the scenes. It still seems a little crazy to us that we've traveled to 6 continents and 80 countries over the past few years. You know we have limited time to see the world, and before our bodies betray us and give out, we wanted to hold firm that it's a venture worth pursuing. With every passing day, we're reminded that our time is ticking and that we do have an expiration date. Until then, every day is an adventure, which is truly an understatement.
Had we chosen to travel and not make anything, take a 20-year vacation, we believe our lives would feel frivolous. Today, our minds are full of ideas, and the more ideas we have, the more they grow. Retirement shouldn't be a time of settling down and becoming stagnant in your thoughts and dreams. There are countless examples of people who started later in life. We believed we had within us the ability to create a goal and see it through. While I had given up my career early on to raise kids, we believed we were not too old to have a new goal and have a go at something completely different in retirement.
We had come across the C.S. Lewis quote, "You are never too old to set a new goal or to dream a new dream." Now, besides Elizabeth Gilbert's big magic, we took this particular quote to heart. It wasn't too late for us to live life differently. It wasn't too late for us to mix it up, and it certainly wasn't too late for me to step aside and let Bev have a go at creative expression. I had a very good career, and she has been my rock, always in the background telling me that I could do it, that I could think creatively and problem solve issues at work. So this time, it was my turn to be supportive.
Well, I had always had the creative bug, and I wanted to give blogging a try. John studied engineering, and his willingness to work hard was a good combination for us. I had studied design in art school, and I had the ability to see things from the emotional side. He can understand analytics and how to help those two things come together. In the end, he's blossomed into the creative mastermind, and I've become more analytical.
So, we wrote a new chapter in this book of ours. Daily, we face many aspects of content creation, website optimization, understanding technological terms that seem like they arrive from a different planet, and a multitude of other equally overwhelming challenges. Learning this process has been very hard, but we're starting to get the hang of it. We are a team, and sometimes we exit the stadium with our arms up in the air, and sometimes with our chins on our chest, but we learn and move on to the next game.
You might be wondering how we're doing with the monetization, because after all, we'd love to make enough money to help pay for our travels. Well, if you went back from the very beginning and counted from there, we probably made between 2 and 4 cents an hour. And that's kind of on the high side. But the dream is there that one day it might pay off.
But we are making progress, and while we're looking ahead to that elusive 100,000 subscriber level, and we know only 1% of YouTube channels ever reach that, and for those of you that have given us the vote of confidence by subscribing, you have no idea how much that means to us, so thank you very much.
Sometimes people ask us if they should start a YouTube channel, and our initial primal instinct is to scream, "No, don't do it!" But we believe that everyone's creative journey should be their own. Elizabeth taught us that. Great artists or musicians or creatives in any arena must create to know if they can create. So it's not for us to say how you should live your creative life, But do go and read Elizabeth's book, Big Magic, if you need or want a pep talk on how to become a maker of your own things. You can purchase this on our website in our travel store.
As we reflect on the reality, we are creators and makers. Our deepest hope is that our YouTube channel will inspire people to take the leap and travel, even if only for a short trip. It is so rewarding to hear that we already have. Readers, followers, and subscribers often tell us our journey has convinced them to take a trip, to plan differently in retirement, or think of their stuff in a different light. It is those remarks and comments that make the digital creator learning curve a distant memory.
Creative living beyond fear is easier said than done. Traveling abroad requires gumption and determination, but the rewards are many. You don't have to be a great artist or a great writer to make an impact on the world, because ordinary people can make extraordinary lives just by their willingness to experience and learn something new and different.
Of course, what we've decided to make might not be a priceless painting or even a best-selling novel, but if our travel writing or video vlog helps someone, perhaps you, realize their dream of seeing the world, of living abroad, or just getting out of their comfort zone bubble, then what a magical bonus. The best part about making something is watching how your creation can change the lives of others. And to that we say onward.
So, to answer the original question, why do we have a YouTube channel and all the rest? Because perhaps being the makers of things is the journey we were meant to take. World travel is just the canvas. This book of ours will have a final chapter, but only when the world has finished teaching us her lessons, whatever they may be.
Be sure to hit subscribe and follow along on our retirement journey around the world.